Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, April 23rd. This is the ecoroof Incentive Program webinar, where we will be giving you some info about our awesome program with the City of Toronto. We're just going to wait a few minutes for some more people to join us. But yeah, thank you for being here and stay tuned. All right, we will just give it another minute here as people are trickling in. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. If you need to take a moment to go grab yourself a drink, a cup of tea, coffee if you're still drinking coffee like me in the afternoon, or some water, uh, maybe some popcorn if you want to snack along while you're watching. Also, feel free to type in the chat and let us know where you are joining from, if you would like to. Yeah, great to see where folks are all located, or maybe what your interest is and what you're hoping to learn about today. But yeah, feel free to use the chat function if you want. All right, Emma, I think we should be good to go. It is almost 2:05 p.m. So yeah, we will kick it off. So hi, everyone, and welcome again to the ecoroof Incentive Program webinar. We're so excited that you are joining us today. My name's Evan, and I'm a research analyst for the City of Toronto in the Environment, Climate, and Forestry Division, and I work on the ecoroof Incentive Program. And I'm joined today by my colleague Emma, who is one of our project leads and on our team, and she will be giving a presentation on ecoroofs. But before I go over the application process, sorry, stumbling on my words there, we will try to answer any questions you have at the end. We'll have a Q&A, but you're also welcome to throw questions into the chat and we can answer while we're going, or there's also a Q&A function you can use too. But before we do get started, I want to let everybody know that this event or session is being recorded. Skip to the next slide. So before we begin, I hope everyone can just take a minute, and wherever you are, I want you to just close your eyes and think about your favorite place to go to relax. If you could be somewhere else right now, where would you like to be? So if you can just close your eyes, take a moment, I'll call you back in a second. Okay, now open your eyes. So, how many of you thought about somewhere that was outdoors, a place surrounded by nature? If you feel comfortable, please put it in the chat. I know for myself, I was imagining being in one of, Toronto's nice ravines, somewhere that you felt like you've escaped from the city. And I'm going to assume that a lot of you also thought of somewhere outdoors or close to nature. Uh, our health, our mental well-being, are so connected to the natural world, and we seek those places out. Emma, if you want to go to the next slide. So why is it that our cities are so devoid of nature when we all want to be so close to it at all times? We all have this relationship to nature that can feel very difficult to tune into when living in dense urban areas with limited green space. Therefore, as we implement solutions such as eco-roofs, we also need to recognize that this is only one piece of the climate action puzzle. The greatest climate action will come from changing our relationship to the land and each other. So living in relationship with the land and environmental stewardship are important values in Indigenous cultures. Indigenous people are the original stewards of the lands on which we now live. So it's important to recognize all the ways that healthy ecosystems support and enrich our lives. From clean lakes we can fish, we can swim and fish in, to healthy soil that we can grow and play in. Indigenous people's respect for the natural world is something we can all learn from. So I want to acknowledge that the land that I'm standing on or speaking to you from is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I would also like to acknowledge people in Toronto who were brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. We pay tribute to those ancestors of African origin and descent. Racialized groups have been instrumental in movements that address inequitable access to nature, encourage more urban agriculture, and fight for climate justice. We are committed to this work, and our goal through an upcoming review of the ecoroof program the goal of the ecoroof program review is to find ways to decrease barriers to our program and support vulnerable communities in mitigating the risks of extreme heat and flooding. If you have thoughts on this topic, please add it to the chat. Thank you very much for listening in on that. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Teams platform, just a little brief overview to help you interact during this webinar. You can see a toolbar at the top of your screen that should look like what you see here on the slide. You'll be muted the entire time, so you won't be able to toggle between muted and unmuted, but we still encourage you to interact through the presentation, either through the chat, which you can see on the arrow on the left, or by clicking the More button, you can get to the Q&A function as well. We'll answer these questions either during the presentation or at the end, but if you have any specific questions related to a project you're working on, please email them to ecoroof@toronto.ca. Yeah, thank you so much. Also, feel free to send in any reactions or emojis that you're feeling too. We love to see how you're doing. So here's the agenda. I'm going to pass it over to Emma, who will take us through the benefits of eco-roofs, an overview of the types of eco-roofs, and some exciting projects before she gives it back to me, and I'll give you a little explanation of the eligibility and how you apply to the program. Then we'll finish off with the Q&A. So over to you, Emma. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Evan, and hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Toronto's eco-roof incentive program, it's actually a 15-year-old program. It was adopted in 2009 to help fund the expansion of green roofs and cool roofs across the city. And collectively, we refer to green roofs and cool roofs as eco-roofs. And these technologies, along with other city strategies, help make Toronto more resilient and better adapted to climate change. So why are we encouraging eco-roofs? What are their benefits? Some key benefits of eco-roofs include reducing energy use, cooling the air, extending roof life, and then green roofs have the additional benefits of managing stormwater, increasing habitat and biodiversity, cleaning the air. Green roofs can also grow food, and green roofs provide a great insulation from noise pollution as well. So there are a ton of benefits to just changing up what our roofs look like and thinking of them as being more productive elements of a building. So how do we do it? How are we supporting eco-roofs across the city? Our program is providing incentives to property owners who decide to install an eco-roof on their home or building. So for cool roofs, all existing buildings in the city of Toronto are eligible, including new low-rise residential buildings with less than 5 units. And our rebates for those who install cool roofs are $2 to $5 a square meter with a maximum of $50,000. We offer $2 for coating products and $5 for new membranes, such as when you replace your shingles. For green roofs, same thing. Every single existing building in the city of Toronto is eligible, and as well as some new buildings. So we provide rebates to new buildings that are less than 2,000 square meters gross floor area, as well as all new projects by Toronto school boards and not-for-profit organizations. And the incentive amount that we offer for green roofs is $100 per square meter, up to $100,000. And an exciting additional benefit that we offer for those going through the green roof process is we offer a $1,000 structural assessment grant for existing buildings. So if you want to know if your building can even support the weight of a green roof, because they are a little bit heavier, we offer you $1,000 to work with a structural engineer to make sure that your building can support it. So over the last 15 years, we have funded over 600 projects and created over 1.1 million square meters of new eco-roof space across the city. Annually, the estimated environmental impact of all these eco-roofs across the city is that they're managing 16.4 million liters of stormwater on an annual basis, keeping that out of our sewer system, helping reduce flooding in our communities. These eco-roofs are reducing megawatt hours by over 2,000 megawatt hours and avoiding over 400 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions from being generated. So what are eco roofs? We're going to talk a little bit and explain what makes these roofs have the benefits that they do. So cool roofs are just a lighter colored roof material that has the ability to reflect more of the sun's thermal energy and heat. As we all probably learned when we were younger in science class, things that are darker in color will absorb more heat, whereas things that are lighter in color will actually reflect more heat. And that same principle applies to our roofs. So this is how they work, and there's been lots of research done on cool roofs. So as you'll see on the left, a conventional roof that's darker in color, we see a lot of black shingle buildings, roofs with black asphalt buildings, or roofs. So the sun is hitting that roof, and that roofing material is holding on to that heat and also transferring it to the building interior. So in those summer months, the heat that is transferred through that roof is actually heating up the building interior, making it less comfortable for humans to live in, but also increasing the amount of air conditioning that we need to be able to compensate for that summer weather. So a cool roof actually reflects more of that sun's thermal energy and transfers less heat into the building interior, which means it keeps your home or building cooler in the summertime, as well as saves energy from using your air conditioner. So a cool roof can take many forms. It looks just like a regular roof often. There's, that structural deck, which is part of every roof, and then there's the waterproofing membrane, and then there's the reflective layer. And this can be the coating that we talked about earlier, or it can just be a brand new roofing product that is lighter in color. And you'll see across the bottom there, they can look like shingles, they can look like metal roofs. There's many different types of materials out there to help suit the type of building as well as aesthetic wants. So here's some examples that have gone through our program, and just shows you the variety of what cool roofs can look like. So you'll see on the bottom, it's quite shocking to a lot of people that cool roofs, there's actually shingle products that meet the cool roof eligibility for our program. So we've got brown that are eligible, red that are eligible, and then a light gray. So it's really exciting. You're not limited to just white, which is what a lot of people think. You can also put solar on cool roofs, and this actually helps the solar panels perform more efficiently because the solar panels heat up when the roof surface heats up. And if your roof surface is lower in temperature, then your solar panels will work more efficiently as well. Green roofs. Green roofs are also known as a living roof or a vegetated roof, and it's a building roof that's covered with vegetation. And this vegetation helps to cool the building, help cool the surrounding area, and mitigate the urban heat island effect. It helps to absorb rainwater as well as support biodiversity. When we talk about green roofs, there's 3 different types of green roofs out there. So we have an extensive green roof, which is likely the most common one out there. These are very shallow green roofs, and the growing media, which is the soil, growing media is a engineered growing mix that is created specifically for green roofs. So it's typically more shallow. The plant diversity that you can grow on a extensive green roof is a little bit lower, but they still provide the benefits of cooling your building down, managing stormwater, and creating some habitat and biodiversity. And then we have semi-intensive green roofs, and these have a bit deeper growing media depth, which allows them to grow a greater diversity of plants. That soil acts like a sponge, so the more growing media you have, the more stormwater you're able to capture. And then we have an intensive green roof. And intensive green roof, as you can see, has the most soil depth, so it can grow trees, it can grow whatever you want up there. Typically, when we see these roofs, we see them as an accessible space. So you'll see in that photo below, that's actually a rooftop. They have birch trees, they have picnic tables. You wouldn't even feel like you're in the city if you're up on this green roof. And these are the green roofs that we see that provide the most amount of benefit to urban centers because they're capturing the most amount of stormwater, as well as creating the most habitat and biodiversity. How are green roofs assembled? They're not just throwing some dirt and some plants up on a roof and calling it a day. There is a very specific method to creating a green roof assembly. So you have your structural deck, which is part of all buildings, and then the waterproofing membrane. And then on top of that, you'll have a root barrier, which is just an added layer of protection from any pesky roots penetrating the waterproofing membrane and causing any leaks in a roof. Green roofs are always going to be planted with plants that are not going to grow deeper than the growing media that the green roof has been designed for. But every so often you will have a plant volunteer itself on the roof, whether through a bird dropping it or the wind blowing it up there. And that's why maintenance is important as well. But that root barrier is a very important element of a green roof in order to protect the roof. And then you have a drainage layer and filter fabric, and this is where the water collects as well as disperses it equally through the roof and make sure it's not pooling in any areas. And then you have your irrigation layer. Not every green roof will have irrigation, but it is important, especially for the early establishment years of a green roof in order to make sure that the plants will survive. And then we have our growing media or the soil, and then you have the plants on top. So there's a lot of pieces that go into a green roof. And this assembly is mandated through a number of policies at the City of Toronto. So we support green roofs through the Green Roof Bylaw, which is for new buildings. Since 2009 as well, every single new building in the City of Toronto is mandated to have a green roof on it through the Green Roof Bylaw. And then we also have our program, which supports existing buildings and some new buildings with putting green roofs on their building. And both of these are governed by the Green Roof Construction Standard. So this is the building code for green roofs. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, it actually lays out the assembly that's required in order to follow the Green Roof Green Roof Construction Standard. So green roof assembly shall, as a minimum, consist of a root repellent system, drainage system, filtering layer, growing media, and plants, and shall be installed on a waterproof membrane on an applicable roof. So there is a formula to follow in order to be able to install a green roof. So between the Green Roof Bylaw and the Eco-Roof Incentive Program that have been working in tandem since 2009, we have seen over 1,000 green roofs installed in the city and over 1 million square meters of green roofs. So you'll see here where they all are across the city. Obviously, they're concentrated in the downtown core, but every year we're seeing more and more come about through the rest of the city. So it's really exciting to see the impact of these two programs and the amount of green roof coverage that we have across our city. So annually, all these green roofs manage 500 million liters of stormwater. It keeps it out of our sewer systems. All these green roofs and the energy that is saved from them is equivalent to if you were to take 664 vehicles off the road, and 11 million kilowatt hours of electricity is reduced by the insulating properties of these green roofs, as well as biodiversity, habitat creation, and just the joy and mental well-being that people get from being able to see nature from their space. I'm not sure if anyone has the pleasure of being able to look down on a green roof from their condo or see it, but it is shown to have a positive impact on our mental wellness. So there's a ton of different ways that people who have gone through our program are getting creative with their green roofs. And so now we're going to share a couple of those examples with you. So this example is an old city building where they transformed. It was a transportation depot, and you'll see there on the top left, those are actually the salt bins that would put the salt into the trucks below. And when they converted this building, they thought, how can we repurpose these salt bins? And rather than just fill them in with nothing, they filled them in with soil and then planted trees so that the roots for the trees would have somewhere to go, which is just genius in my opinion. This is a really exciting way that you can look at a building from a more circular perspective and think, how do we not, how do we leverage what we already have? Green roofs are a great place for biodiversity. So as you'll see here, this green roof is planted with a ton of native plants. We have goldenrod, yarrow, black-eyed Susans, echinacea. We have so much diversity up there that you can only imagine what this is doing for, providing food for all the pollinators. And so it's really nice to see green roofs that go above and beyond and try to have more diversity. To support folks who would like to explore creating a biodiverse green roof, the City of Toronto does have these nifty guidelines for biodiverse green roofs, and it's a really fantastic set of guidelines. It was created quite a while ago, but it's still incredibly relevant. So it just shows you just very simple ways that you can increase the availability of habitat on a green roof. So even if it's a shallow, extensive sedum green roof, there are things that you can do to make it more attractive to pollinators and different types of wildlife in the city. So even just adding some rocks, mounding the soil a little bit, putting some branches up there, putting a log, those are all things that will attract wildlife to it, rather than just this flat green space. We're seeing lots of people make their green roofs accessible so that they can enjoy them. Obviously, green roofs are challenging because they exist on the top of buildings, but the real benefits come from when people are able to enjoy them, because obviously there's not a ton of nature in urban centers. So having a little pocket, the more the better. So these are two examples. The one on the left there is one of my favorite green roofs in the city. You wouldn't even know that you're in, it's at Yonge and College. You really wouldn't even know that you're right in the heart of the city. And the other one is just, it looks to be on top of someone's residential property where they're able to go out and enjoy it. Similar to those, we're seeing a lot of walkout patios onto green roofs, so people are able to enjoy them not by interacting right with them, but being able to look at them. People are incorporating skylights into their projects as well. This works really well when there are tall grasses or tall plants and you can actually see them from below. So you can see them like swaying in the wind. That's really exciting. And that's another example of skylights. And green roofs don't have to be very big at all. This is just an example of a small one that's still going to create habitat. It's still going to capture rainwater, and it's still visually nice to look at. People are putting green roofs on top of their garages or laneway suites. And again, a green roof doesn't have to be huge to have an impact. So the one on the right is an accessible space on top of a garage. And they have gardens up there. They have, it's a really great space when, again, we're always looking for more natural space in the city. One of my favorite benefits of green roofs is that they can grow food. So rooftop gardens are becoming more and more popular, and we're really lucky in Toronto to have a couple examples of this. So on the left, we have Carrot Common Rooftop Garden, which is on the Danforth. It's been around for a really long time. They grow lots of produce up there. It's a really great space. And on the right, we have a restaurant in East End that would actually grow produce and herbs for the restaurant and brewery below. And we are working on a set of guidelines that will help people better leverage green roofs for food production. People are also creating another revenue channel for their business by creating an event space that they rent out that also has a green roof integrated into that space. So on the left, it is the Carrot Common again. You're actually able to rent that rooftop space and while also enjoying the green roof. And then on the right, we have someone just converted their roof into a rental space because who doesn't enjoy being on a roof in the summertime? Oh, and over to you, Evan.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Emma. That was great. I love seeing some of those photos. I was part of the team taking some of them, but it's like brings me back, and I just can't wait for getting to go see more green roofs this summer as well. So yeah, now that you know about eco roofs and maybe you're interested in applying yourself, or you've already got a plan to do a cool roof or a green roof on your property, how do you apply to our program? So you come to this website, toronto.ca/eco roof, and you can look through. We've got lots of information on this web page. But when you're ready to apply, you click that apply now button that's circled there, and that'll take you to the application, which you'll be required to fill out. Just so you know, you have to do it in one time. You can't save the application and come back to it. So it's always good to be prepared and have some of the documents that you're going to need ready before you start the application. So we'll talk to you now about some of that stuff that you might need. So when you're going through the application, the first thing you're going to need to enter is some of the property information, including like the applicant information, the property owner, telephone number, email, location of the eco roof. As well, then you'll have to enter some stuff about the building type, if it's a new building or existing building. And then if you go to the next, if you press next there, you'll have to enter some of your information, whoever's applying to it, and then hit next again. You also have to enter, sorry, yep, there we go. Some of the installer information, like who's the property, or the property owner yourself is installing it, or if you've hired a contractor, you'll have to enter that information as well. Next is the more important part. You have to enter in some of the project details. So this is when you're going to say if you're doing a cool roof or a green roof, as well as when you potentially plan to finish it. And then you have to enter or attach your supporting documents. So for all projects, we require a photo of the roof prior to construction if it's an existing building, a roof plan or drawing that indicates the total roof area as well as the total eco roof area, and these measurements should be in square meters. And then you'll also have to note the percentage coverage. Um, we'll also need to know the roofing materials. So if it's a green roof, you'll have to list all those different parts that Emma had gone over in the green roof. And if it's a cool roof, you have to list if it's a membrane or a coating, what the specific product is. And then we'll also need a maintenance contract that's signed by yourself, that is a sort of assurance that you will be maintaining the property or the eco roof correctly for its life cycle. So for cool roofs, if it's a low slope or a flat roof, the product that you have, the membrane or the coating, has to have a solar reflective index of 78 or greater, and a thermal emissivity that is greater than 0.9. You're able to find out all this information about your products, usually through the manufacturer or by visiting the Cool Roof Rating Council, that's CRRC. You can Google them, and you can find a list of cool roof products, as well as see the stats on those things on each different product. If it's a steep sloped roof, or a sloped roof like with a residential house, the solar reflective index, or SRI, has to be 25 or higher. And then again, the thermal emissivity needs to be 0.9. Again, you can find all this information on our webpage as well. Check out the Cool Roof Rating Council. And then for green roofs, just also let you know that you do need to have a building permit that has your green roof design plans in it, as Emma kind of talked about. So you'll need to provide that for us as well when you apply. And if you are applying for a structural assessment grant you'll also need to send us the report from the engineer as well as the invoice for that. I just see a question from Carolyn to repeat the numbers. So I'll go over that again really quickly. Again, you can find this on our website though. So for a low slope or a flat roof, the SRI or the solar reflective index needs to be 78 or greater and a thermal emissivity of 0.9. For a steep slope or a pitched roof, the solar reflective index needs to be 25 or greater. And again, the thermal emissivity is 0.9. So Emma put that there in the chat. So that's probably better than me saying it anyways. So Emma, let's go to the next slide. All right, so before you do apply, please, like I said before, take a look on our website. You can find all those details as well as the steps for how to apply, all the documents you need so you can get all your ducks in a row before you go for it. And if you are looking for more resources, you can find those on one of the tabs there too. But if you are a contractor or a professional in the field, you can also check out our new ambassador training. Or if you are in the field looking for a contractor, you also might want to use the directory that's down there. So on that last tab that Emma's showing here now, this is a new feature that we've launched. It's currently only for Cool Roof ambassadors, but you can find an online directory of Cool Roof professionals who have gone through our virtual training, taken an online quiz, and are now what we call ecoroof ambassadors. So if you want to have your company listed on the online directory, check out our webpage and take the virtual training. Or if you are looking for a contractor, you can also find them on this directory as well. You just have to watch a virtual training and then take a quiz, and you do get multiple shots at doing the quiz. So we hope you'll be able to pass. We think you'll be able to pass. All right, next slide, Emma. So that's it kind of on our program, the ecoroof incentive program, but there are a lot of related city programs that we hope you'd be interested in hearing about. Like you may have already heard about, like the home energy loan program, where if you are doing any renovations or retrofits to your home to improve things like insulation or maybe add in a heat pump, check this out because you can get a low interest loan to help you with that. If you want to look at any of these other programs, make sure you check out toronto.ca services. As you can see, that website there linked at the bottom. But these are some of the programs that are running right now. If you do want to get more involved, if you go to the next slide, there are a few things that are coming up right now or happening right now. For example, right now you have Community Environment Days, which are running from April 5th to September 28th. These are a great chance for you to pick up compost, drop off your electronic waste or household items, and they are run by your local city councilor in each of the different wards. So you can find those at livegreentoronto.ca, get involved events. And then also Clean Toronto Together is happening this coming weekend, April 25th to 27th, starting on Friday. We're just asking groups to spend about 20 minutes cleaning up litter in a local park, beach, ravine, or natural space. And you can register your team at toronto.ca/Clean Toronto as well. And that takes us to the end of our presentation. Here's some of our contact information. Our program manager is Anne-Marie Banton. I am again Evan Artis, and I'm here with me is Emma Timlin. And you can reach us at ecoroof@toronto.ca. So thank you so much for listening in. And I think we will shoot over to our Q&A period now. I have seen a few questions come up in the chat. So I can just start, Emma. I'll start with Cheryl's question here in the chat. Can you let us know roughly how much of the cost the incentive covers? For example, you say $5 per meter squared for a new roof. What would be the approximate cost of this? That's a good question, Cheryl. I mean, I guess it's going to depend on the size of your roof as well and the actual price of the product you purchase. So the $5 per meter squared is for a cool roof membrane, and your rebate is gonna be equal to the size of your roof. So if you have a 100 meter squared roof, we would be paying you 5 times 100 meters squared, $5 times 100 meters squared. But to say exactly how much of that, how much it's going to cover would really depend on the product you choose. There's a lot of different cool roof products on the market, so you have to do your research, and it's also going to depend on like your installer and the price you negotiate with them. Emma, I think this is a question for you. Can you tell us more about the green roof bylaw, its history and evolution, and how well it has been received? That's a great question, Caroline. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. And I'm not, the Green Roof bylaw is overseen by the city planning division. So I'm not an expert, but as a lover of green roofs, I do know about it. So yeah, it's been around since 2009. It came out of a strategy called Making Green Roofs Happen in Toronto that was done through TMU, formerly Ryerson, and a professor there called Hitesh Doshi. And they did a study on the benefits of green roofs in the city of Toronto. And it was this study that led to the development of the green roof bylaw. And so it mandates the installation of green roofs on all new buildings across the city of Toronto. The really interesting fact about the relationship between the Green Roof bylaw and the Eco Roof Incentive Program is that developers do have the option to opt out of the Green Roof bylaw. But in order to do so, they have to pay what is called the cash in lieu. And so they actually pay $200 per square meter to opt out of the Green Roof bylaw. And it is that money that goes towards funding projects through the Eco Roof Incentive Program. So our program is self-sustaining, and it is really it's really a great relationship, and it is good because sometimes forcing developers to put a green roof on that they don't want or doesn't work with their design just isn't possible. So there is some flexibility there. How it's been received, there has definitely been criticisms from some developers that don't want to be forced to put a green roof on it. But for the most part, I think once people really understand the benefits of green roofs and really work to integrate them into their designs, they really see the value of those green roofs to the building. Of course, they're not going to have much benefit if you just slap them on top of a building and no one ever sees them again. But what we're seeing now is developers really working with the green roof bylaw and creating, amenity spaces, creating gardens, really integrating it into how the building is used by people who live there or work there, which is really exciting. So I would say it's being more positively received every year as people become more familiar with the benefits, and also start to see the need for them. Obviously, we had a lot of major flooding in the summertime, and green roofs and just green infrastructure in general, just green space, are great ways to mitigate urban flooding because they capture and hold on to that rainwater, to delay it from entering our sewer system. So hopefully that answers your question, but the Green Roof bylaw does have a history tab, I believe, on the website. And I'll see if I can find that for you here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Emma. So I'm gonna go over to a next question we've got from Stephanie. No, that's okay, Stephanie. You don't have to worry if it's been answered already. Are we still eligible for incentives if we install the roof ourselves, or do we need to use an approved installer? No, of course you can install the roof yourself. This would be a great way to save some costs as well. Hopefully, as long as you are, safe and know what you're doing as well. We don't want to encourage anyone to go up onto a roof if they don't know what they're doing. But I trust if you're planning to do it, Stephanie, that you would be prepared. So yeah, you can definitely do it yourself and apply still for the Eco Roof incentive, which kind of leads to Dave's question as well. Dave, you asked in the Q&A, you work everything out with a contractor to install the roof and then report it on our website. If you get improved, you get it reimbursed, and the money after we've already paid the contractor. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct, Dave. It's a rebate, so the money does come afterwards. After you've paid, one of the completion documents that we require is proof of payment and your invoice for the project as well before we send out the rebate. And then we had another question in the Q&A from Negan, sorry, about the Cool Ambassador program, if we can post the exact link. So there is no direct link. You have to navigate to it from our program website. It's at the bottom of the page under the Ambassador and Directory tab. But Emma, maybe you can throw in the chat again just the link to our direct program or to our program website, toronto.ca/ecoroof. But yeah, if you go there, then yeah, you'll just have to find it yourself there. Awesome. And I see, Emma, you did that there in the Q&A as well. Okay. And if anybody would like to, ask a question out loud too, we can unmute you. Caroline, another question. Toronto has embraced the eco-roof program. Do you think this is a viable solution for most cities in Canada to follow? Emma, I think this is a question up your alley. You've worked on a bit of a jurisdictional scan, and you might have some insight to thoughts around this. So that's back to you.
Yeah, definitely. Green roofs have long been used in Europe. There's a ton of that's where a lot of the research from green roofs has come from. They were widely adopted there first before they came to North America. There's a lot of great advocacy being done in North America, and as a result, there are cities across Canada and the United States that have implemented programs similar to the Green Roof bylaw, as well as programs similar to the Eco Roof Incentive Program. So there are a lot of cities that mandate the construction of green roofs or cool roofs on new buildings. There's some really great examples of green infrastructure policy out there. One of my personal favorites is the DC Stormwater Credit Trading Program. If you're interested, I highly encourage you to check it out. But it definitely is a viable solution, I would say, for more cities to follow. There's a huge interest from the public, I would say, in getting green roofs in their city. And if there is no support from the municipality, it can make it really difficult to adopt these technologies. Toronto's really lucky because we have the green roof construction standard. So if people want to do it, the city knows how to do it. We support rooftop agriculture, and those are just some cities don't have a construction standard. So when proposed with a green roof, they're like, well, how would we do it? How do we make sure it's going to function properly? How are we going to make sure that the building doesn't leak? There's still a lot of misconceptions about green roofs that, they will make your roof leak, but it's actually the exact opposite. So it's definitely a viable solution that should be adopted by cities across Canada and North America, because it just makes it easier for people who want to install green roofs or cool roofs.
Yeah, awesome, Emma. Thanks so much for that answer. I do wonder if we have anybody listening in from outside of Toronto as well, and maybe they can start speaking to their local governments as well, and we can get more bylaws and mandates put in place. All right. Think we've had a good amount of questions. This has been really great. Some good, interesting questions that have varied from, about eco roofs in general and how they're working across Canada and in other places, as well as more specific ones about our program. So it's awesome. We love to see that. We love to see interest and interaction in eco roofs and our program in general. So yeah, huge thank you to everybody listening. Emma, do you have anything else any other thoughts you'd like to share?
No, that's everything. I think we've, usually 45 minutes is how long this runs. So it's been amazing chatting to all of you. And hopefully, if you have questions, you reach out to us.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you all. Remember again, the email is ecoroof@toronto.ca. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.